The rain fell in relentless sheets as Emily Parker stood before what was once her dream home, now nothing more than a stranger's lair. Her trembling hands clutched the eviction notice she herself had been handed, not because she hadn't paid her bills, but because someone else, heartless and cunning, had stolen her home right out from under her. Her children's toys still lay scattered in the front yard, their names carved into the wood of the old swing, now taken over by people who didn't belong there. Emily's voice cracked as she whispered to herself, "How did this happen? How can someone just take everything I've worked for?" That night, under the flashing red and blue lights, she watched helplessly as police shrugged and said, "There's nothing we can do right now, ma'am." The world felt colder than the storm itself. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and justice that still exists in this world, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales, because real heroes don't always wear capes, and sometimes, they ride motorcycles. Emily had always been a fighter. Life hadn't given her much, just enough to survive and a little more to love her two children, Lily and Mason. After her husband passed away in a car accident 5 years earlier, she sold everything she could to buy a small, cozy home in a quiet town, a place she called her fresh start. Every corner of that house held her heart, the hand-painted walls, the photos, the laughter that once echoed in the hallways. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. She had worked double shifts at the diner, skipped meals, and spent nights studying for a nursing certification to give her children a better life. But fate can be cruel. While she was away caring for her sick mother in another state, strangers moved into her home. By the time she returned, the locks were changed, and squatters had claimed legal residency. They'd forged fake rental documents and even filed complaints against her when she tried to enter her own home. The police called it a civil matter. The court system was slow, heartless, and distant, and Emily had nowhere to go. For 2 nights, she slept in her car with her kids in a grocery store parking lot, clutching their hands and praying for a miracle. Every sound of thunder reminded her of how fragile her world had become. Days turned into weeks, and Emily's hope began to fade. She tried calling lawyers, social services, and even the local news, but no one seemed to care about a struggling single mom's stolen home. The squatters, meanwhile, lived comfortably, throwing loud parties and mocking her from the window whenever she drove by. Her son Mason cried every night, asking why they couldn't go back home. Her daughter Lily, barely 10, drew pictures of their old house, a warm, safe place with a big red heart in the middle. Emily's tears stained those drawings as she tucked them into her purse. Then, one morning, something changed. While sitting at the diner, exhausted and hollow, Emily noticed a group of bikers sitting at the counter, big, rough-looking men and women, but their laughter was warm and their presence commanding. One of them, a broad-shouldered man named Travis, overheard her quietly talking to the waitress about her situation. When he saw the pain in her eyes, he walked over and asked gently what had happened. At first, Emily hesitated. People had listened before, but no one had helped. Yet something about the kindness in his voice made her open up. She told him everything, the squatters, the police, the helplessness. When she finished, there was silence around the diner. Every biker had stopped eating. Travis looked her in the eye and said, "Ma'am, no one steals a mother's home while we're around." That night, as the sun set over the small town, the sound of engines began to fill the air. One by one, motorcycles lined up on the street outside Emily's house. Not 10. Not 20. 300. The entire local biker community had shown up after hearing Emily's story. They came from miles away, men and women who had seen enough injustice in their own lives and weren't going to stand by and let it happen again. Their jackets bore different colors and patches, but they shared one mission: to stand for what's right. The squatters peered out from behind the curtains as the roaring engine surrounded the property. The bikers didn't touch the house, they didn't break laws or cross lines. They simply stood, shoulder to shoulder, like a wall of humanity between Emily's stolen home and those who had taken it. Some held signs reading, "Justice for Emily," and "You can't steal kindness." Others recorded the scene, broadcasting it live on social media. Within hours, the video spread across the internet, and thousands of people joined in outrage and support. The pressure mounted. The police could no longer ignore what was happening. By morning, the squatters packed up and left, their arrogance dissolved in the face of public fury and 1,000 watchful eyes. When Emily stepped through her front door again, she fell to her knees. The house was a mess, furniture overturned, pictures smashed, but it was hers. The bikers helped her clean every room, repair every broken thing, repaint the walls, and even rebuild the swing for her kids. The sound of hammers, laughter, and revving engines filled the air for hours. Her children ran around the yard again, free, laughing, and smiling for the first time in weeks. That night, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, Emily made lemonade for her unexpected army of angels. She stood on the porch, looking at the long row of bikes lined along the street, their chrome glinting in the fading light. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you, for giving me back my home." Travis simply nodded and said, "You fought long enough alone. The rest was our turn." The story of the Biker Angels spread far and wide, reaching millions of hearts. Donations poured in to help Emily rebuild her life. But more than the money or the fame, what truly mattered to her was the lesson she learned, that kindness has power, that strangers can become saviors, and that even in the darkest times, humanity can roar louder than injustice. Weeks later, Emily's home was more beautiful than ever. Flowers bloomed in her garden again, her kids' laughter echoed through the halls, and she finally slept peacefully, knowing that good people still existed in the world. Every weekend, a few bikers stopped by for lemonade, and the sound of their engines became a reminder that family isn't always about blood, sometimes, it's about those who show up when no one else will. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales, where real stories of hope, courage, and compassion remind us that the world still has heroes hiding in plain sight. Speech balloon special request to all viewers: comment below with one word that describes how this story made you feel. Your voice might just inspire someone who's losing hope today.